Okay, let's do chapter 7 on developing and managing offerings. So, essentially, what this chapter is about is when we're introducing new products. And when we're introducing a new product into the marketplace, we're going to follow 7 steps. The first step is, and this is in your text as well, but it's idea generation. Number 2 is idea screening. Number 3 is feature specification. Number 4 is development. Number 5 is testing. Number 6 is commercialization. And number 7 is evaluation. So I want to walk through each of those 7 steps. And here we go. So step 1, idea generation. New product ideas or new ideas for services have to come from somewhere. So the question is, who thinks of them? And so the answer is everybody. So some good sources for where good new product ideas come from. A great place to check is your employees. They work for the company, right? So they know your products well. Maybe they know a new product that your company could develop. They talk to your customers, and so they're a great source. Our customers, that's another great place to get new product ideas from. Maybe your customers tell you, gosh, I wish you could do this, or this would be really nice if you could do X, Y, or Z. Your sales force, they're out talking to the people, they're on the street. So whatever they hear, you should listen to because they may have some great ideas. Competition. We look at what our competition is doing well. We look at why others are going to the competition. That may give us some ideas for our own. And then also marketing research is a big one. So we go out and we ask people, we try to learn about them, learn what they want, learn what they do in certain situations, and then tailor a product that would help satisfy their wants and needs from our research findings. So now we have a bunch of ideas, and we can even do I'm sorry, I forgot to mention one, brainstorming. Sometimes you get a group of people, maybe a combination of the people I mentioned before, and you sit there and you try and create ideas, brainstorm, talk through them, put stuff up on the wall, let it percolate a little bit, and that's another great source. So once you have all these ideas, how are you going to decide which ones to pursue and which ones not? Many companies will come up with 100 ideas before pursuing one of those as a product offering. And so the things that you want to think about when you screen your ideas, probably 9 out of 10 you're going to throw out the window. So number 1, you want to say or ask, does this product fit our company? Does it fit our mission? Is this something that we do well? Is this something that we're known for? Does this align with our cultural values? If it doesn't, it's probably not a good idea for you to pursue. If it does, then it passes that test. Number 2, does it add value? Is the customer out there going to be excited about it? It's like, okay, I see how this is going to help me. And ideally, does it add value that other people are adding and will help you win them over? Does it satisfy a need? Is there a demand for the product? It's okay that people like your product, but unless they are willing to pay for it, it's not going to help you out. So you have to find that special product or service that people want and that they're willing to part their money to have. And of course, we want to do this at a level of profitability that meets our criteria. Your criteria for a new product might be, I want to get 25% return on investment. So if after analyzing this, you think it's only going to return 10%, you'd probably pitch it. But if it meets the return on investment criteria, then absolutely, we're going to be serious about looking at it. And let's see. Okay, so if it does pass these tests, then we start looking at some other things, such as concept testing. So an idea is one thing, but now let's flesh it out a little bit more. And let's talk about how this might work. And so there's different ways that we can test out a concept. We can bring together people for a focus group. where a group of people come in and you tell them what you're thinking about. And that group might even actually help you form your idea a little bit better. So we can interview people and talk to different people and just sort of flesh this out is the best way I can think to explain it. And then we should also at least do a little bit of a financial analysis to see, is this financially feasible? What would our costs be? What do we think our revenues would be? And is there a profit there? You don't want to get too deep into it yet, but you want to at least have an idea that this is worth pursuing. Then if we get to step 3, that's feature specification. Now we're going to drill down a little bit more on some of the important features and benefits that this product can offer and just get into some more specifics. And all this is still kind of on paper. We haven't done anything yet. But now we get into step 4, which is development, and that's where we actually build a prototype. And so this is where you get your engineers and your scientists and your designers, and you say, hey, make this. What would this look like? It doesn't have to be fully functional yet. There can be some bugs in it, but we actually have to, the rubber needs to meet the road. Can we actually do this? And if we can, then we're ready possibly for the next step, which is step 5, which is testing. There are 2 types of tests. You have alpha tests, which are done in the lab, and you have beta tests, which are done out in the field. And so in a lab setting, we can bring people in and we can have them, manipulate the environment and see what they would do. It's not real life, but it's simulated life, and that's worth something. Eventually, we want to get things out into beta testing where we actually put it in a store, put it in a market, put it in an area, and let's see how it does against the competition and how it does in a real world where people have jobs or people are laid off. Do people actually buy it? And anywhere along the line that we kind of don't perform well in these steps, then you probably abandon the product. But assuming that the first 5 steps we've talked about so far pass the test, then we move into commercialization or launching the product. And that's where we put it into stores and we see how it goes. So we can either do like a rolling launch where maybe we open up in Chicago and Atlanta and Dallas, and let's see how that goes. And then we can make some adjustments and tweak, and then maybe just continue to roll it out in other markets. Or maybe start in the Midwest or start in your home state. And then from there, maybe you go down south, you go to the Northeast. Or some companies will choose to just do a worldwide or national launch. So, when Apple comes out with, their newest iPhone, whatever, it was the X, that's the 11, I don't know what they're up to now. But they'll promote that. But then when they release it, it's pretty much released everywhere. So I guess depending on the level of confidence you have in your product or how you want to, do that, it's riskier to go with an all-out national launch, but some of the bigger companies go ahead and do that. And then after commercialization, we're not done yet. You've got one more step, and that's what we call the evaluation step. And basically, we've developed a plan all along, and we've rolled the product out. What we want to do is keep looking back and asking ourselves the question, okay, how is this working? Is this going the way we thought it would? Are people responding the way we thought they would? Is there something we should be doing different? Should we adjust? Should we make some changes? And, you do that for the rest of the life of the product, right? So there you go on that. Okay, those are the 7 steps on how you take a new product and infuse it into the marketplace. The second part of the chapter I want to talk about is the product life cycle. Introduced that to you in chapter 2. We talked about the product, Boston Consulting Group matrix. And now I want to refer to this chart that was up in your chapter. Sorry. Let's see. Here we go. So now you're not looking at me, you're looking at this chart. So I can take my eyes off of this pretty soon, or your eyes off it, but watch my cursor here. So every product has a life cycle, as we said. It's going to go up and it's going to go down. The shape may change, but this is a great chart in the sense that when we start off, our revenues are zero, right? Because we've never, and then it's going to go up, and then at some point it's going to peak, and then it's going to start going down. Now, are we still in good shape here? Yeah, of course, because there's still a lot of sales, but the future trend is not looking good. And then as we get down to here, we're starting to lose our luster. Now, what you'll notice here, that's the sales line. Profits will start below sales because we incur expenses when we're rolling out a product, even though we don't have any sales yet. And even when we're at a level of somewhat sales, our expenses are probably higher where it still makes our profit below the green line or negative. At some point, we're going to cross that. And then from the start of growth to the end of the maturity is good, because then that's where profits are awesome. And they keep rising. Now, eventually, as sales start to drop, so will the profits. Now, again, here we're in good shape. We're still making good money, just not as much as we used to. And then eventually we're going to get to the point where we're not making money again. So to sell beyond where you're not making money is really not advisable. We kind of want to get out while the getting's good. Okay? So let me go back and put you guys back on me here. And trying to stop sharing my screen. Okay, I think maybe I closed out. We're back good again. So the things that I want to say about this part is that a couple of things. When we introduce a product, let's match up the Boston Consulting Group with the life cycle stages. So the question marks would be the introductory stage. The stars would be the growth stage. The cash cow would be the maturity stage, and the dogs would be the decline stage. So when we first introduce a product into the market, we have a choice of how we want to price it. And two common strategies are: one, price penetration, and two, price skimming. They both have different objectives. One is not right over the other. It's just sometimes one's right for one product and one's right for another product. So if we do market penetration pricing, what we're doing is we're pricing our product low. We're not going to make a lot of money on each product, but we're putting a low price out there, trying to get people to try it. We're hoping that we'll make a lot of money by selling a lot of items. So maybe it's a $10 item. It costs us $9.50 to produce. So we're only making 50 cents. But if we can sell 10 million of those, we'd make $5 million. So that's a strategy. Another strategy is called market skimming. And what we do here is we charge a very high price. Now, people aren't necessarily going to come in droves because it's a high price, but the few that do come by, we're going to make an awful lot of money. So maybe that product costs us $9.50 and we sell it for $30. So now with each item, we're making $21 or $20.50. So we don't have to sell a lot of items to make some good money. Some companies will start with a market skimming strategy, and then once they get the people who are willing to pay the high price, they'll start dropping their price to pick up other people in the marketplace. Great. Okay, let's talk about what happens when your products start to decline in the maturity stage. What do you do? Well, nobody likes to see that decline happen. So the hope is, how can we delay that as much as possible? Or is it possible to sort of rejuvenate life into this product, maybe send it back through the growth stage again and keep it hanging on in maturity? There's a few things that you can do to try to make that happen. Number one, you could rebrand your product. Try to create or reposition it. Try to create a different image for your product so that it seems like it's new and improved, it's fresh, it's providing some benefit that it didn't provide before. Maybe you upgrade your product. You put more quality materials into it, or you change the flavor, or you change the size, or you just do something. Maybe you go to different markets. Maybe you have been confined to the United States and now you're going to go into Europe. That's a way to kind of keep the balls up in the air and keep it alive. Adding features, changing styles, all sorts of things. Those things can help. Inevitably, your product life cycle is going to come to an end. Might be a month, might be a year, might be 10 years, might be 100 years, might be 500 years. But at some point, there's going to be a better product come along, or people just aren't going to need you anymore because they found a substitute. And at that point, you need to make the decision, should I harvest or should I divest? And so what we do when we harvest is we stop investing in the product. Maybe we just shut down the marketing, the advertising, but we still have products. So some people will come along and they'll buy them, and then we'll sell them, hopefully a little bit of a profit. But we aren't investing in it anymore. We're just letting it ride out. And then the second strategy is to divest, and basically that's to sell it off. So if it's possible, a lot of people don't necessarily want to buy a dog product, but if there's a buyer out there who's willing to take your product on, or maybe you just even sell off the assets and don't make it anymore. But those are your other options too. You just sort of end up kind of cashing out of the business. So those were the main two things that were talked about in Chapter 7 on developing and managing offerings. So I'm going to cut out here, and I'm going to get your guys' midterm exam made so you can take that at the end of the week. So I hope you have a fantastic day.